One of the main reasons that we've traveled so far from home for this edition of It's a Miracle is to cover the story of perhaps the world's youngest miracle worker. She's 11 months old, lives with her family in northern England, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. Her miraculous story actually begins before she was even born. The city of Newcastle, an industrial center in northern England, is home to Janice Topping and Paul Bruce, a young couple who, more than anything, wanted to be parents.
I've always liked children, I've always wanted children, and we just really, really wanted to make a family and give Grandma and Grandad the grandchildren they've always wanted.
Have a nice cup of tea, you feel better. Okay.
But after suffering 2 miscarriages, Janice's confidence was shaken.
I always thought that I was going to keep having miscarriages, so every time that I did fall pregnant, I used to think, is it going to work, is it going to work?
What's the matter? I'm just nervous.
And so it was with some worry and trepidation that they faced her 3rd pregnancy, not knowing the odds would soon double against them.
Okay, I see 2.
2 what?
You've got twins.
Twins?
When we actually found out there were 2, it was just absolutely fantastic. And we just keep saying to ourselves, well, we lost 2, we gained 2.
I was very happy, but it was a bit of a shock.
There's one. There's the other.
It was shocking, but it was absolutely fabulous. Really, really good.
Oh, that's unusual.
The ultrasound tests also revealed a very remarkable relationship forming between the twins.
They're facing each other, head to head.
Usually, when twins are lying in the womb, one of them's head up and one of them's breech. But my 2, no, they had to be head by head all the time. You could see them touching each other's faces, holding each other's hands. They were just so close all the way through.
You're right, love. What's the matter?
The pregnancy proceeded smoothly until the 5th month, when Janice's condition suddenly took a turn for the worse.
Is it the babies?
She developed pre-eclampsia, an illness that can prove fatal to both mother and children.
That's the kind of thing where, kidneys don't work properly, your liver doesn't work properly, and you end up with toxins in your blood.
Well, I think we better get you to the hospital. Come on.
It's very, very stressful, watching her go through all the pain, not being able to move properly, like with all the toxins she had in her.
To make matters worse, Janice refused any treatment that could potentially harm the twins, and her condition steadily deteriorated.
I know you've lost 2 babies, and you obviously don't want to lose these.
I want to wait.
I got to the stage where my blood pressure went sky high, and I couldn't even walk, I was so ill.
Just keep on saying, don't let the twins die, let me die. And I didn't want that.
If we did lose the twins, I don't think I could have coped. And I would have much rather not be here if the twins had died.
Janice was admitted to the hospital, where she was told that the only hope to save her life and the lives of her babies was to deliver them immediately.
Janice, if we don't deliver them now, both your life and their lives are at risk.
The doctors only give us 50-50 chance whether the twins would live or die.
It's very hard because I didn't know if I was going to lose the whole 3 of them.
You don't know what my feelings are, and I know that I can hold on for these babies to survive a little bit longer.
Sometimes when I was lying there, I just didn't believe it was me, going through all this heartache and whether I was going to come out of this because I'd been through so much pain.
Well, your
This is my
life
family.
and their life is my concern. And I'm being irresponsible to let you continue.
I just prayed and prayed and prayed that we would all come out alive.
It's all right, trust. Have faith, all right, sweetie. It'll be just fine.
The dramatic conclusion, when It's a Miracle, continues.
You right, love? What's the matter?
In the 5th month of her pregnancy, Janice Topping developed pre-eclampsia, a toxic condition that could kill both mother and children if the babies weren't delivered immediately. But because their lungs were not fully developed, Janice refused to give birth, opting instead for a steroid treatment that would boost the baby's lung development. The process would take 5 days. 5 days that Janice might not survive.
The doctor said my blood pressure was so high and my blood was so infected with toxins that it would obviously end up killing us. It was that bad. The doctors decided that enough was enough.
That's it. We're going to have to deliver right now.
The twins would just have to come there and then, and we would just have to take the risk for the twins to live.
Janice was rushed into the operating room for an immediate C-section. And minutes later, Chelsea, a baby girl, entered the world at 2 pounds 5 ounces, followed by her brother Daniel at 2 pounds 2 ounces. The twins were quarantined in neonatal intensive care, and until Janice's internal organs began functioning properly, she would not be allowed to see them.
But they did send us a Polaroid photograph of them, which I clutched all the time. The Polaroids meant everything, everything in the world. When I looked at these photographs, I was saying, are these really mine? Are these really mine? And it wouldn't click until I actually went along myself to see them.
6 days later, Janice had recovered sufficiently to finally meet her babies face to face.
Seeing them for the first time was sort of happiness but shock. My heart was full of joy, but it was a shock. All you could do was put your hands through these 2 holes in the incubator and just touch them that way, because they're so feminine, so small. In fact, I was really frightened to touch them anyway, because you think, God, they're so small, are they going to break? Because when they were born so premature, they're born with no eyebrows, no eyelashes, no fingernails, no toenails, and their skin's very translucent. Sometimes I used to think to myself, they look a bit like aliens. But they were mine, and I give them 100% love and hope that everything would be fine.
In the weeks that followed, baby Chelsea grew in leaps and bounds. But for Daniel, every day was a struggle, and doctors weren't sure he would live.
We are concerned about his pulmonary condition right now.
But he's going to be okay.
Well, I can't give you an absolute answer on that. He has increased weight, which is a very good sign. But it's still touch and go.
His lungs were too immature. He's got a chronic lung disease, and that to put him on oxygen. Took him longer to start feeding off the bottle.
It was just a waiting game all the time. Your heart was in your mouth all the time.
Finally, 7 weeks after her birth, Chelsea was deemed fit to leave the hospital.
It was exciting taking Chelsea home, but also hurtful leaving Daniel behind. It was as if there was a piece missing. It was a jigsaw not done.
Their hopes that Daniel would follow Chelsea home were dashed when he suffered a series of reversals.
The doctors didn't really know why he was losing the weight and why he kept vomiting and things like that, and why he wasn't sleeping.
You'll be fine.
He just screamed and screamed and screamed. It was just awful to look at him. He just didn't look well at all. But the doctors couldn't actually pinpoint what it was.
It was Janice's mother who came up with one possible answer. Daniel missed his sister.
I wonder if Chelsea was brought back here and put in with them, if that would make any difference.
Do you think that would help?
Well, you know,
Me mum says with them being so young and not knowing anything else in the world, that's the only thing they've had, each other.
Although bringing a healthy baby back into intensive care is risky because of the bacteria the baby could carry with it, doctors agreed to allow Chelsea back into ICU as long as she was carefully bathed beforehand.
And as soon as she touched his hand, he woke up straight away, looked straight into her eyes, and it was sort of like a sigh of relief that she was there.
You could tell. by his eyes that he just kept on glazing at her. And you could just tell there was something there between them.
They just used to lie there, touching each other all the time, like what they did in the womb, head to head, holding each other's hands, stroking each other's faces. Then they would both fall asleep together.
Daniel began improving immediately, and the change was so remarkable that Janice brought Chelsea to the hospital every day.
Because they were next to each other being fed together, he would take his bottles, he would sleep without crying. He hardly ever cried. He was just so settled. It was absolutely fantastic. I believe there was a miracle. I believe Chelsea saved Daniel. I do believe she saved his life.
5 weeks after his reunion with Chelsea, Daniel arrived home weighing a hefty 5 pounds, 5 ounces.
And when I actually got them home, it was like my last piece of me jigsaw. And it was all complete.
Well, I didn't believe in miracles until now. Until they both came out of the hospital.
I'm proud. I love them both with all my heart, and I'm just a joy to see them grow up day by day. It's just the most important thing in my life.
This amazing story wouldn't be complete if we didn't take a moment to see how the twins are doing today. They're 11 months old, they weigh over 15 pounds each, and they join us now along with their parents from their home in Newcastle. Hey there.
Hi, Richard.
So how are those two beautiful babies of yours doing?
As you can see, they're getting on really, really fine. Apart from Daniel, he's still got his oxygen supply for his bad chest, but other than that, they're getting on really, really fine.
And how's Chelsea?
Chelsea's doing fine. She's growing in leaps and bounds.
Well, she has to be the youngest miracle worker we've ever had on our show. You still see that quality in her?
Yeah, she's got a lot of character in her, a lot of love for Daniel, and she's my hero.
And she's also my hero too.
Any thoughts on what made her a hero?
It was just the bond, the love. As you can see, they've always got to touch each other. They've always got to be beside each other. Every time one of the twins leaves the room, my eyes follow or his eyes follow. It's just lovely to watch. It's absolutely fantastic, and I just hope the bond will last forever.
Well, we do too. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful story with us.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks a lot,
Richard.
Richard. Bye.
Bye.